keen and enthusiastic, these Jordanian cadets have 1 year to learn how to be officers. Well, this is the Sandhurst of Jordan. Around 200 officer cadets come here every year. They're predominantly trained by the Jordanian instructors, but there are also 2 British troops that are here as advisors, passing on their own operational experience. The British troops are part of the British Loan Service team. They spend around 2 years in Jordan mentoring the instructors. Using the training area behind the academy, they teach military skills, tactics, drill and first aid. It's a completely different deployment to what they're used to.
Just to understand their culture, firstly, which was very difficult, and to be honest, it took me about 6 months coming here to get used to the culture and the way that they operate. Because in Britain, if you tell somebody that something's wrong, they'll accept that. Here, they will not accept that. Some of the trainers are very inexperienced and they're at the rank of colour sergeant and obviously sergeant major. So it's basically starting from scratch for us guys. Since we've been here, we've made a massive improvement. The instructors have gained a lot more experience with us being here.
Jordan has a very strong relationship with the British military, as many of the country's senior officers completed their training at Sandhurst, including His Majesty King Abdullah II. That bond is still going strong, and Lieutenant General Tim Evans, former commandant at Sandhurst, visits the cadets to give a lecture on leadership.
The ties between the different nations, particularly UK and Jordan, are very strong. And therefore, again, if we can understand how they're operating and how they work as officers, and also they see how the UK officers work, ideally if there's a good friendship, when we go on operations next, there's not going to be less differences. We understand how they're going to operate. So I think that must be helping us, because the next operation is going to be multinational.
The relationship the Jordanians have with the British military is extremely important, and those in the military speak very fondly of their time at Sandhurst. Prince Talal bin Mohammed is one of those that couldn't speak highly enough of his experience at the British Officer Academy and his respect for the British Army. He is now Special Advisor to King Abdullah II. So you went to Sandhurst.
Yes.
And also to boarding school actually in England.
Yes.
Just explain and go through some of those experiences.
The lessons I remember as those 8 months as an 18-year-old had a more powerful impact on me than everything else I've learned since. And it seems very strange, but it's true. Especially if you're an 18-year-old boy straight out of school. They drill things into you, basic drills, that remains with you in whatever you do in life for the rest of your life. And I'm very grateful for that.
The relationship between Jordan and the UK is very strong and has been for many years. Do you think a lot of that is down to the military and the history of that?
Absolutely. We owe the officers who were here, who spent their entire lives amongst us, their entire adult lives, who learnt our language, our customs, our habits, and I'm sure it's the same of British officers who were in India and other places, who gave their entire adult lives to serving with us, and they did help build an institution that would not have been built without their help, and helped make Jordan a unified country. It's a really heroic effort, and they're unsung heroes. We still have the same kind of the mentality. So my wish for our army is that we have British operational doctrine and training and the military spirit, unit cohesion, unit history, pride in our history, our military history, and at the same time, we have American equipment, which the Americans have been very generous in providing us with. So kind of have the best of both worlds. I was telling you, Colonel, that I always felt that the British Army didn't have the equipment they deserved, and they're the best soldiers I've ever seen in terms of professionalism, attention to detail, fighting spirit, camaraderie, and all these things. And I always hope that they get the equipment that they do deserve. We're very proud of our shared history, which dates back to 1916. So 98 years of a close and continuous relationship, which is something that is not to be underplayed at all.